beautiful summer's day here in Ontario. Well, as you can obviously see here, folks, we are the happy new owners of a Honda Pioneer 700 side-by-side. We got this last Friday and we took it out and put 72 kilometers on it in the trails in the bush at our cottage this past weekend, and we absolutely love this machine. But I gotta tell you, it's not the machine we ordered. To make a long story short, at the end of last winter we sold our snowmobile, we sold our ATV, put that money aside and some other money we'd saved up, and we went in and we ordered a Honda Pioneer 520. I'd done all sorts of research, and I have a friend that has a 500 who has a hunting camp way up in the bush, and he couldn't love his machine anymore, so I thought, that's the machine for us. And the 520 has a dump box on it too now. So we ordered one. That was the beginning of March. And here we are in the mid-July and no machine yet. And I check in regularly with a dealer and they're just super. The owner of the dealer, Jeff, is just a super guy to deal with. And he called me last week and he said, Paul, something's happened and I have a Honda Pioneer 700 without a name attached to it. And in this climate of outdoor toys and supply and demand, that's pretty rare, of course. So he said, are you interested in it? And he said, take your time. You've waited a long time. He was so kind. He said, take your time and let me know. Because he had quite a few people who would certainly take it off his hands. So I took my wife down and went and looked at it. And I did all sorts of research online. And, you know, there is a bit of a difference between a 700 and a 520. And we were left with this, what do we do? Do we wait for the 520 or do we take the 700? So we went through the pros and cons. The 700, it's a little bit bigger machine. Obviously it has a 700cc engine. It's 10 inches wider, but it has bigger tires. It has a couple inches more ground clearance. It has more movement in the suspension. It'll handle 1,000 pounds in the box. It has a 2-inch receiver for a hitch, and it'll pull 1,500 pounds in a trailer. You know, all of that I really like. The only thing I didn't like, other than it was a little more money, was the fact that it was 10 inches wider. So after this weekend in the bush, we couldn't be any happier. It rides like a dream. And this transmission, it's a 3-speed, literally an automatic automotive transmission with a torque converter drive. It is so smooth, and I can shift it either manually or I can shift it in automatic mode like a car, and it really works like a dream. We couldn't be happier. The 520 has a 5-speed transmission with a centrifugal clutch, and I think it would work well too. One thing I really liked about the 520 was its creeper first gear. Really, really slow first gear. That would be really good in the bush. But you know, I'm 62 years old and I'm definitely not going mud bogging. And if we need to get a smaller machine someday in the future, we can. But for now, this machine more than meets our needs. Now we've ordered a windshield and it's not in yet. Once it comes in, I'll install the windshield. But in the back of that box is all the parts for the winch for the front. We bought a 4,500 pound Warn winch to go with this. And we're looking forward to having that on for just a bit of added security. Plus we've got some logs up in the bush that I want to pull out that I can skid out to an open area and get on a trailer. That'll be a good test out for the new winch. Well folks, I'm going to pull it into the shop and I'm going to start working on this winch. Before I do that, I'll give you a quick walk around and then I'm going to take it inside and have some fun installing this winch. As you can see, the new 700s come with a really nice front bumper and bush guard. As you can see here, for a stock OEM tire, the 700 has a pretty aggressive tread on it, and it's an inch larger in diameter than on the 520. This is a 25-inch tire, and on the 520 it's a 24-inch tire. Now, one other feature that we really like on this machine over the 520 is, of course, having a glove box. On our last trip, our maiden voyage, we really appreciated being able to put our cell phones, wallets, and keys in there and have them safe and dry and not banging around in our pocket. And we've also got a storage compartment here. Something else that's really important on the 700 over the 520 that we appreciate is the ability to lock up the front diff. When we're in four-wheel drive with a 500 or a 520, the front diff one wheel can spin and you're basically stuck. With a 700, we can lock up that front diff and effectively it locks all four wheels together. And I'm sure it would do a lot of chewing in some mud or snow or sand. This old grandpa though is going to be pretty cautious. and that 10 inches of extra width between the 700 and the 520 makes for a much broader seat. My wife and I had lots of room between each other, even room actually to put a small cooler or something else up on the seat with us. It's very comfortable to ride in. One other feature on the 700 that we really liked was the increased size and the increased capacity of the dump box. The dump box on the 500 or the 520 will hold up to 450 pounds, whereas on the 700 we're good for 1,000 pounds. And when you're working in the bush, that could come in awful handy. And check out these latches on the tailgate. That's something else I really like about Honda's quality. Now when we close this tailgate and we latch it in place, I'm sure it's not going to rattle going down the road. I really like that. And check out what's in the back of the box here. That is the winch kit that I'm about to install. And one more definite advantage that the 700 has over the 520 is power steering. After traveling 72 kilometers in the bush and not feeling any feedback from the road when we went over bumps and rocks and logs, and being able to spin that wheel with one finger, oh, you've got to love power steering. As one friend of mine said, once you have it, you'll never buy another machine without it. I was waiting for a quiet moment to record this. It's kind of funny. And up above us right now is a Canadian Forces Globe Master, no doubt heading down to Trenton. Well folks, if you're in the same position we were in, having to decide between a 700 and a 520, I don't think you can go wrong with either machine. They both got definite advantages, and that 520 is at a really sweet price point too. Well folks, I hope you've enjoyed this short video. I'm going to head into the shop and start putting on that winch.